In a day and age, in a country like India, where we're always critiquing either the governments or the administration, the police, the courts, there's often a lot to complain about and critique. But at a time like that, here is a case that has given new hope, that's given a ray of hope to many women across the country. And even as we talk about that, it's important to highlight the exemplary work that our officers on ground carry out. Well, today we decided to meet IPS officer BK Singh, a man who's not new to the Karnataka police, someone who's headed many SITs in many high-profile investigations like the Gauri Lankesh case, the alleged crimes against MLA Muniratna. But what really has in fact taken center stage today and sent out a message loud and clear that nobody is above the law is the Prajwal Revanna case, where the former MP was indeed sentenced to life for rape. Joining us today is Mr. BK Singh himself. Sir, many thanks for speaking to Times Now. You seem to have a smile on your face. So I want to start by asking you, the Prajwal Revanna case has been one that sent a message very loud and clear, sir. You were right there, leading a team of all women officers. I want to ask you, before we get to the details of the case, are you happy, are you satisfied with the investigation, sir?
Welcome, Neha, and good afternoon. And definitely not only me, entire team is happy and satisfied with the outcome of the case. And they feel proud also that they could finish the job from the registration of the case till the judgment within a period of over 1 month, 1 year and 4 months. So yes, it is a sense of satisfaction and sense of achievement also.
Sir, when it comes to influential cases like this, or for that matter, even just cases of assault or rape, we often see that the biggest challenge is, completing the case quickly. And in a case where you have such an influential personality involved, it was a very speedy trial that took place. Everything was fast-tracked almost. I want to ask you, sir, how did this come about, and are you hopeful that, this would act now for other states, for other investigations, for big investigations like this, would send out a message that there is a need for the trial and for the case to be completed quickly and for the judgment to be pronounced if justice has to be shown?
Okay, let us start with the first part of your question regarding how it happened. See, there is a time limits for the completion of investigation in rape cases and by and large in all the cases. So first we made it sure that we should complete the investigation in given time frame, that is within 3 months of the registration of the case. Second was regarding the trial. So what had happened, this was a peculiar case where the then MP of the Hassan himself was an accused. So the case was to be tried by the MP MLA courts, which has been specially constituted for the purpose of trying the offences regarding MP, MLAs, MLCs and ex-MP, ex-MLAs, etc. And then there is the idea behind this MP, MLA courts was once the charge is framed, the trial should be over within 6 months. That was the idea behind the establishment of these courts. Second point was this was a rape case and the person accused had not been able to secure the bail even from the Supreme Court of India. Third was, since it was a rape case, the provision is that trial should happen once the charge is framed, it should happen on day-to-day basis. So all these three put together were main cause behind the trial to get over so quickly in this case. Yeah. So that's why we were able to get the complete case investigation to the trial within 1 year, 4 months. Definitely there is a need for the speedy trial because most of the cases like this, they end up getting trial 6 months, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years or more than that. So during that process what happens, the witnesses, their memory and their interest or victims' interest also comes down slowly over the period of time. So there, because the chances of their becoming hostile, witnesses turning hostile also becomes more and more pronounced as far as once the trial is getting delayed. So definitely it requires all the trial to end up quickly, and the better they end up quickly, so that it helps both the victim as well as the accused also.
Absolutely. Sir, I want to ask you, there was an all-women officers team, at least predominantly, majority of the officers were women. Was this something that, you had planned, sir, given that this is a very sensitive case, the accused is an influential personality, there would be a lot of threat to the victims as well, and many of them, given that the victims did not even want to come forward, probably just 4 or 5 of the 90 odd that we've heard of have come forward. Was this planned, sir?
Yeah, it was deliberately planned to have more women in the team than the male, because first of all, most of the victims were female, number one. Number two, the investigating officer has to talk to the victims and sometimes the explicit details also. So it is comparatively easy for a female officer to reach hearts and minds of the victim rather than the male officer, particularly sexual assault case. So that's why we had decided that wherever there is a rape case, the IO should be the female officer, and accordingly we took most of the female officers and less number of the male officers in the team. Okay. And regarding the victims coming forward, only 4 victims came forward to give the complaint, and we registered cases depending upon their complaint, and we took the investigation. Most of others, they did not come forward for the reasons best known to them, maybe because of the societal pressure or for some other reasons. So hopefully now they may come forward to take up the complaint, and we're open and willing to take up the cases to investigate what you can say.
Okay. So one thing is, there's always, when it comes to influential personalities, whether it's actors, whether it's politicians, whether it's senior police officers, there's a lot of pressure per se, if you could call it that, more so where politicians are involved. I want to ask you, given that, he was a former MP, was there any kind of pressure at all, sir, on, the police teams investigating this case? Because clearly, through the investigation, the Speedy trial, and just within less than 1.5 years, all of this coming through, it seems like, you've broken a lot of barriers on that front, sir, which we do not very often see.
In this case, one thing I can say, there was no external pressure and influence to affect the investigation of the case. From the day one, it was a very professionally conducted investigation, and nobody tried to influence it. Yeah, there was pressure on our team itself to do it in a professional way and to do it within the given time frame. So that was our own, what you can say, stress or pressure, but outside influence or pressure was not at all there on the team, and that's why we could do it job professionally.
So if we go back to the case, one of probably the first challenges, for your team was to rescue that victim, sir, who was abducted, and given that the SIT had been formed already, there was probably a lot of immense pressure, sir. If you could take us through the challenges and how you managed to, at every step prove that, the SIT is very strong-willed, and we are going to get to the end of this, to the bottom of this, and make sure it reaches a logical end.
Initially, particularly this case victim, as everybody knows that she was kidnapped, and that kidnapping had happened before the SIT itself was formed. So we were under tremendous pressure that first our main job is to rescue the witness and try to find out what is she. Until we could locate her and get her, it was really, we were all, every member of the team was under very much tension. But once we got the victim, at least we can make sure that yes, she is safe and secure. And then we brought her to Bangalore. She was subjected to the medical examination with some of the counselors and psychologists also talked to her. So, because she was in very distraught condition and she was not in a position to talk properly, they brought her to the normal level, and then that time only she first came to know that her videos had been leaked and they are in the public domain. So really first two days it was very difficult just to make her normal, and in that process their family members, their son-in-law, husband, and everybody supported her. That was the biggest thing, that yes, we are with you, don't worry, we will take care of you type of things. And then she came forward, gave the complaint, we registered and investigated, and at the same time we had to make sure that she is protected. She is a very poor woman, and they are not financially independent, so we made sure that she is taken care of, which she is gainfully employed during the period of time. And So simultaneously she is protected also from the outside influence or threat or any sort of such type of things. So that was a job which SIT did during the entire period of time till the trial was over, and now also she is gainfully employed. So that made us bring the case to such a logical conclusion.
Okay. Sir, for a common man who's watching this, not for journalists like us or police officers like you, every aspect of this case seemed very filmy. It wouldn't be wrong to say that there were so many twists, so many turns, so many highs and lows, throughout this. One of the challenges, sir, of course, for the benefit of our common viewers who are just watching this, one of the challenges in rape cases always is the evidence. You often depend on medical evidence or on DNA, on collecting, of course, the semen samples, carrying out those tests as well. Given that this took place nearly 4 years prior to the investigation started or prior to all of this coming out, you used a technique, sir, that was probably not very common. If you could, just take us through how that worked for this case and, just for people to understand, sir, in layman's language, how exactly did you go about establishing it when you started with just a handful of videos where the accused was not even able to be identified properly?
See, as usual, you know that in this case we are having only victim. Incident has taken 3 years back before the time of reporting. It's somewhere to 2021. But we were having the video of that act which was being perpetrated on the person victim. So that we made sure that through the help of the video, we tried to get the evidence to corroborate the statement of the victims which he had given. So we used for the identification of the person which is seen in the video, where his face is not visible. We tried to identify what are the different marks on his body, like tattoo or mole or color pigmentation or birthmark, somewhere veins, some typical structure of his fingers, toe. All those different marks were identified in the video. And then at the time of medical examination, we had to photograph him with the body parts which are visible in the video. And then we matched each and every distinctive marks which are appearing on the video with the photographs and video we had taken at the time of medical examination to prove that the person who was appearing in the video is the same person who has been subjected to medical examination and whose photographs has been taken. And this job was fantastically done by our forensic science laboratory team, and they came out with the conclusive result that this is the person who has committed the crime, the person who is appearing in the video. And this is something different, which is, as far as I know, it has not been used till now, and we had to go for some studies which have been conducted in Japan, and one of the case study of the Turkey, where the child abuser was caught, online child abuser was caught by using this technique. So we used it to get to the identity of the person who was appearing into the video. Yes, it was different, and probably, hopefully in the future also other investigating agency will be using it.
Right. So let's talk about, this was one of the cases that was registered against the MP where he's now been convicted, where he's been, sentenced to life imprisonment. I want to ask you, sir, this is a case that has probably empowered a lot of women or, given them hope, because if we are to revisit all of the court trials, all of the hearings as well, the MP kept pleading innocent, and even till the end, when, on the last day, sir, when the court actually said that, you belong behind the bars, in lesser words, of course. Even when that came in, sir, he pleaded in the court saying that this is nothing but a political conspiracy that's being run against him, that he's still innocent. But it's quite literally just been on the basis of your investigation and your findings that the court has stood its ground today and said that you've committed a crime, you belong behind the bars. Are you hopeful, sir, that going forward in the other 3 cases that are to be investigated against him, that, it is going to go in your favor?
Yeah. As you know, every accused has got its own right to defense. He can take the defense of anything, form, whether it is a political conspiracy or enmity or whatever he may say. But ultimately, court had found him guilty. So it has established that our investigation was proper, and I would like to mention here that our prosecutors did very well. So whatever we did the investigation, ultimately it is the prosecutors who had to present it before the courts and convince the court that yes, the person has committed the crime, and they did fantastic job. Since all other three cases are also based up nearly 50-60% of the evidence are common in all the cases, we are hopeful. Let us see what the result comes. And it is in the future. Right now I cannot comment, but yes, we are hopeful.
My last question to you, sir, in a democracy like India, of course, like you rightly mentioned earlier, every accused is also entitled to, use the legal route to, relieve themselves. I want to ask you, sir, now as far as Prajwal Revanna is concerned, he's of course been sentenced to life imprisonment. For the understanding of our viewers, what appeals does he have before him, sir, or how would, now that pan out for him? Because this has come as a very, very strong message to all accused across the country that, there is evidence against you and you would be punished for that. Nobody is above the law.
Yeah, that's one thing should be remembered, that this country is run by the Constitution, not by the whims or fancy of any particular person. And in front of Constitution, everybody is equal. And there is a law of the land, there is a processes in place. Now, he's been convicted by the trial court. He has got right to appeal in the High Court. Again, the High Court also he has got the right to appeal to the Supreme Court of India. He has got that right. It is up to him to avail those rights or not. But yes, he has got right. And higher courts will decide depending upon the evidence which has been produced and how their interpretation and all those things. So, right now we cannot say in what way it should go, but we are hopeful that this judgment will be upheld in the higher court also.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for speaking 2 times now. At a time when we see, hundreds of crimes being carried out against women on a daily basis, cases like these rekindle that hope and ignite, of course, the fire in women to fight if atrocities have been committed against them. And of course, it was the resolve of the entire SIT and the team of the Karnataka police that worked tirelessly on this case to ensure that justice prevails in the end. With video journalist Santosh, this is Neha Hebale signing off 4 times now in Bengaluru.